So I'm watching YouTube, and one of those long ads comes on. That's an hour long. I'm sitting there for a second, and I'm like, you know what? It's kind of interesting. Let me just keep watching it. And I realize it's an ad from Google, and they did this very long, very comprehensive breakdown of the history of Google and the search history, how they rework their algorithms and build new product features, how they rank search, how they filter out spam, just everything. And, aside from the fact that it's an hour ad as you're watching YouTube, it reminded me that how some of the best things that we have in the world and some of the hardest things that there are to do, some of the greatest people make them look so easy. And it always just brings me back to the idea of, the things that tend to pop into my head when I'm watching things like that is all the people that I've heard throughout the years say things like, well, these big corporations, they're corrupt and, they're just trying to trick you and they're trying to do this. And, all the negative leaning thoughts that people have about companies like Google or Apple or anyone else. But watching a documentary like that, or that's kind of what I'd call it at this point. I mean, not an ad because it was very comprehensive. It reminds you that, the countless hours that some of the smartest people among us spend just so that when you type in, where do I find the best cup of ice cream in my city? Something that you completely take for granted and something that you don't think anything about. And at the most extreme end of this example, you complain if you don't get the perfect result. And you realize how much thought and energy and effort and time and research and, quality assurance goes into creating a product like search. And at a company like Google, how much they've refined it and how much energy and thought goes into how you speak and what you type and how to filter all those results amongst billions of pieces, trillions of pieces of data. So, again, it's like things that look very easy. Sports is another kind of analogy I love to give when it comes to these things. And like, say, someone like a Floyd Mayweather who, made things look so easy. That you kind of forget how hard it is and all the work that goes into him becoming him. To be born into a boxing family, to be a person who, could have easily gone a completely different track in life, to not only just become a boxer, but then to go down a path where you dedicate your entire life to it. And to a degree that I don't understand, and I don't think anybody, maybe aside from him and the very closest people to him, would understand that what it takes to train every day, to have a game plan for your career, for an opponent, for your family, sacrifice the time, the energy, the blood, sweat, tears. I mean, everything that goes into, being so prepared that on one night you can legitimately have 50 basically flawless fights. So for a guy like this to be undefeated in his career, and it makes you realize that it's not just being undefeated. It's the idea that the guy barely lost rounds. The guy barely, was never knocked down. And some people would attribute that to, oh, he's scared. Oh, he doesn't want to fight. It's really the idea that even in fights where guys are still doing that, They make mistakes. They get them caught. They're in the wrong position. They choose the wrong angle. They throw a jab at the wrong time. And for a person to have never been in a situation where they made enough bad mistakes to compromise a fight shows you how much energy and time and thought goes into that. And so, no different than the Google thing. It's got to be, it's got to be something that if you really dug into, you would have to admit is amazing. That someone anywhere in the world could be typing in almost any language and what they're thinking can be, filtered out in so many different ways in less than a second, and the information be useful and repeatable and easily accessible. And as it gets better, we all have to remember how much energy and effort and time goes into, every detail of every aspect of something like a product like Google or Google search. And I just wanted to rant on that for a few minutes because I just felt it was so impactful to watch an hour ad, which was a documentary, but just reminded me some of the best things that we have in life are made to look easy by some of the smartest, greatest people among us.